What's up, everybody? Welcome back to TheBiringPodcast. Today we got Team Canada beat Team USA in the Four Nations face-off.
Sure did. Let's go.
It felt like a lot more than just an exhibition game.
Canada needed this W.
Right? Then we got leaked audio of Trump saying that Trudeau is a loser.
Is he wrong?
I don't know. Some Canadians might agree with him. And then we have Canada's getting a new high-speed train.
Yeah, this thing goes from Toronto to Quebec City in a couple hours.
Apparently. And it has a bunch of people excited, but it might not get built until 2030.
Damn.
Next, we have the Bank of Canada's governor is warning everyone that if these tariffs come, we might not recover from them.
Yeah, that's pretty scary, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And then next, we got the buying Canadian movement is now political.
Why do we gotta make everything political, man?
I don't know. You would think that it's just common sense to support local businesses, but apparently it makes you a liberal or a conservative. And after all that, what do we have for off topic?
So we got the ASAP Rocky verdict. We got the White House releasing an ASMR video, Trump's Garden of Heroes, and a couple other stories.
And stay tuned for the question segment at the end.
Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and go follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TheBiringPodcast. So let's start with this big W for Canada. And the boys bringing it home. Instead of me talking about how important it was, here's a clip of Canada's coach.
I just hope Canada's proud, because every player in that room is proud to be a Canadian. And yeah, did we need a win? Not only like our team, but Canada needed a win. And the players bared that on their shoulders, and they took it seriously. And this one was different. This wasn't a win for themselves. This was a win for 40 plus million people. And the guys knew it, and they delivered.
Damn.
Yeah, you felt that, man. Like they're celebrating like they won the cup.
They did.
No, like the Stanley Cup, but yeah.
Marner.
Yeah. Nah, that was really cool, man. Yeah, so cool.
I swear that guy's trying to run away from him.
He's like, don't catch me in the video.
He like turned around. Yeah.
That's cool.
Right? This whole game felt like it was way bigger than just an exhibition.
Yeah, it felt like the playoffs.
Right?
It was nerve-wracking, man. My heart was racing the whole time.
I feel like it made me a little emotional, man. I don't know why. Right after they won, I was like, that was special, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it to me. You're like, should I shed a tear?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It felt like it was something where if you were walking around the country, you could kind of feel people.
For sure.
Like, you could feel this air. It was important to everybody to get this W. It just felt like there was a lot more on the line. And to think this was all supposed to be just an all-star game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they kind of just manifested this out of nowhere. They just came up with it, and they didn't know what they had. And I think it was all these growing tensions going on between both the countries.
Yeah, like what the coach said, the sentiment, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Like, we needed this win.
These guys felt that.
Yeah, it felt like we weren't really winning for a little bit.
Yeah.
This whole like tariffs, whatever, Trump. And it was just really nice.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I feel like even watching it, it was like my heart was beating out of my chest just watching the game. And you kind of saw, because everyone doesn't realize, like other people that tuned in that aren't hockey fans, that these were superstars you guys were watching. That's why the game was so fast paced.
It was
right?
super
Like
fast-paced,
it's not always like that.
Yeah.
Right? These are extremely skilled
It was
guys.
just
Right?
so entertaining. The fights, it was so good.
You know what I found weird? I never thought in a million years as a Leafs fan I would root for Brad Marchand.
Right?
Ever. Ever, man.
It feels nice having him on your side, right?
Honestly, I think this game might have changed my whole perspective on the guy. I saw him during a couple of the games. He was emotional.
Yeah.
They were singing "Old Canada." They zoomed into his face. His eyes are all full of water. They're teary-eyed. He was very proud to be there. He's one of the leaders of the whole squad, right? And he was trying to uplift the whole team, right? He's even talking to Marner. Marner's a Leaf, right?
Yeah.
Before, right?
Who is he? I don't know him.
So as a Leafs fan, he plays for Boston, right?
That's what I asked.
Yeah.
So as a Leafs fan, you kind of hate him.
Yeah.
Right?
He's part of a lot of really bad moments in our history.
In Leafs history, right? But I think this kind of made me respect him as the man outside of him as the player who's not been so great for the Leafs.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to watch. We only got so many years of Crosby left and playing with kind of the passing of the torch after he scored that goal.
Right.
Crosby and him, he hugged him.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing, golden goal. And then it happens again with McDavid.
McDavid. Yeah. No, it was cool for McDavid to even get that goal, man. I don't know. I feel like the rest of that overtime period, we were kind of getting our butt kicked.
Yeah. Right up until then, I was like, damn, they almost scored.
But when I saw that
Not
moment,
really. We started off strong.
In the OT?
No, we started off the game strong.
no, in the game we were playing pretty well. The game was very back and forth.
Yeah,
it
the game was
a
great.
wild game for something that was only not so high scoring, because you can get 6-5s, really high scoring games, right?
Yeah, it was just sorry, not to interrupt. It's so cool to watch such good players play. The passing was good. I can't even really talk about it too much, but the defense was good. The goalies were so good.
Yeah. That the Canada's goalie, he was a lot of people were talking smack about
They didn't think he could do it.
Yeah, because he
stopped some crazy goals.
I mean, if
all those people had to shut up.
Yeah.
If you're gonna talk about Austin Matthews, this guy was handling him on so many of those shots. He was just gloving
in the
them.
OT.
I
was like, Matthews is gonna score on him.
Yeah,
I was like, here we
I
go.
felt that too.
Right?
He had 2 opportunities there. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, and then even the Kachuk brothers, how they were talking a lot.
Yeah. Apparently, one of them's sick.
Yeah.
The other one stopped playing after the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
Banged up. Sound like excuses.
And I think because they started feeling how big it was for Canada and that energy, right? I think then that kind of motivated the US and they got really into it. Oh, this is something big, right? And I kind of feel
Trump was saying he might go, right?
Yeah. And then I think he couldn't go because there was some sort of governor's meeting or something like that going on.
Even the fights that were breaking out in the crowds. You guys see those videos?
Yeah, I saw a couple of them.
Yeah, I saw them arguing. And one guy's like, "What do you have? Aluminum?" And we're tariffing it, right? That's the kind of stuff.
Political. One guy's sign was 11th province.
Yeah. And then they're giving each other the finger and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was, right? Then clearly they felt it. You heard what the coach said. They felt it, man. It was all this politicization of the game, even outside of the game, and Trump just adding fuel to it. Always talking.
Yeah, they had a lot of pressure on them. So much outside things that were part of the reason why it made it so big.
Yeah.
And then even with that video we were watching of Trudeau, did you see what he posted as a caption? You can't take our game and you can't take our cricket.
Yeah. Good.
Tweeted that.
Yeah. No, I mean, he had to say something, right?
But I'm glad he said something like that.
And
not just
good job, guys.
Good job. Yeah. I mean, normally he probably would have, but this called for it. You got to kind of talk back. He's calling him the governor every day. It seems like governor.
That's one thing, but I think Americans don't realize because there's so much going on in the States when it comes to politics, right? We feel like this is a big thing. I just saw the other day, Trump had a press conference, and I think it was the governor of, I can't remember which state it was, but they weren't, I might butcher this, they weren't agreeing to change the policy on gender or something, or sports or something. And he's like, well, federal funding is cut.
Yeah.
Right?
If you don't do that, he's threatening.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, well, I'll see you in court. Right. And they were, so that's just who he is. Right. There's headlines there all over the place. So Americans think this is just one of those.
Yeah.
They don't realize for Canadians, there's threats of auto plants shutting down. There's a lot of
one
things.
in Brampton, I saw it on the news today.
Yeah, Stellantis.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, man. There's a lot of people's jobs riding on it. There's a lot of things that can happen with Canadians, right? So obviously, Canada's not stupid. Most of us understand that this can impact us a lot,
For sure.
right? So if somebody's doing that, we're gonna feel it, right? And then we made that energy felt to them, right? But then outside of that, I think even if you look at the numbers, right, like this thing was big, right?
Yeah, there was some real numbers to back it all up. There was like 16.1 million viewers across North America. So that's the second most watched hockey game in this decade.
Damn.
Compared to only this playoffs, and that was Game 7 of
Game
the
7
finals.
of the finals this past year.
That had slightly more, like 16.3 or something. And 10 million people watched in Canada. That's a quarter of the population.
Damn.
That's so cool. Yo, it made me want to start watching hockey again.
Also, I think my personal belief is the Nielsen ratings, they're kind of skewed because that doesn't account for all the people, like a bunch of people watching at a bar.
Yeah, and
even in the families.
True, streaming.
They do like a rough estimate about how many people live in each house. I think like half the country at least was watching this game. That's wild.
That's so cool.
That's cool because everyone felt it, right?
Especially if you account for there's a lot of elder people, babies and stuff that don't watch TV, right? They're part of the population. Out of that 40 million, I feel like, like you're saying, man, the country was tuned into this thing.
Sure. And it was such a good game to watch, too. Yeah. Like, if you're going to tune in at one point, you got such a cool game.
Yeah.
In all my group chats, I just feel like there was just this constant conversation of, bro, I have so much anxiety. I can't keep this. I can't keep doing this. I can't stop breathing. Heart attack. Like, everyone was just, like, gasping.
For sure. Once it goes to OT as well, you're just, like, on edge.
Right.
Right when they won. It's like,
but speaking of people's reactions, I think we have a clip of Trump speaking to Team USA and a couple of reactions from some celebrities and stuff.
Okay. Mr. President, can you hear me?
I can. You guys are really talented. I have great respect for hockey players. I'm a hockey fan. I love hockey. The talent, the skill that you have is crazy. And just go out and have a good time tonight. And I just want to wish you a lot of luck. You really are a skilled group of people. It's an honor to talk to you and get out there, and there's no pressure whatsoever. You just go out and have a good time. You're going to win. And we love America. We love you guys. We'll be watching tonight. Bring it on.
Thank you.
Yo, I might start watching hockey. That's really fucking dope. I don't know if it was because it was country versus country or whatever, but I was intense pause in the house watching that. I'm like, yo, this is lit. Like, I think the reason I never really watch hockey is because you gotta find a puck and they need to figure out something to put in that puck to where you know where it's at if you're watching from home. But the game is spectacular. The atmosphere is spectacular.
Cameron.
You got people in there representing their country.
Yeah, the podcast.
That was bigger than a city to city. Of course, it is bigger than city to city thing. But more of the story is I watch hockey highlights. But for me to watch 3 quarters, I missed the overtime.
3 quarters.
The one in the overtime. But for me to watch 3 quarters of hockey, that was big time for me.
I'm sitting in my car, depressed.
Some random dude.
Because a bunch of Canadians won an exhibition game that didn't really count against America. And I was deeply, heavily, emotionally,
cover sports,
100% 10 toes down invested in it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how hockey did it. Hockey, which, again, you hear my voice, I'm very Southern. It never mattered where I grew up, and it's all I care about now. I just care about the next time we can beat Canada. The NHL made something incredible and awesome.
Congratulations to Canada. I'm sorry we got the tariffs on you.
Heck of a hockey game.
It was a great hockey game.
Heck of a hockey game.
So you think they were playing harder? They were playing harder because of the tariff, but they didn't want to be the 51st state.
That's the motivation.
That's motivation.
Yeah, this thing was getting coverage everywhere, man. Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, you see like even random people who weren't tuned in, man, like they saw that and it was exciting, man, to watch that. And I feel like now they've sparked a new rivalry.
For sure.
Right? Like it's not like the US and Canada didn't have it.
It was always there.
Like it was always slightly there, but now the US is kind of caught up in terms of I wouldn't say the same. Canada still has a lot of good players, but the US has some competitive players, and this could be a rivalry moving forward, period, right?
Yeah, this is the closest it's been that I can remember in my life. Like where the US, when they play us now, they think they can beat us.
Yeah.
We didn't have all our guys in this game.
Yeah.
And they didn't either.
Yeah.
So if we both have stacked teams, it's a lot of talent.
I mean, the Olympics are what, next year?
I was going to ask, when are they?
It's next year, yeah.
Isn't
this guy robbed us of this? Like,
yeah.
So Gary Bettman.
Yeah, people are talking so much shit about him.
The Olympics are even better, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be wild.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I think that is now going to be might even be bigger than the USA basketball in the Olympics, man. That's going to be something
People are going to be
everyone's tuning into.
Yeah. And they get the uniqueness of it being just winter.
Mm.
There is no basketball to compete with. It's all hockey. It's going to be the main focus.
Yeah. That's wild.
Did you guys see... Sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you guys see Gretzky at the game? He was catching some backlash.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Gretzky is obviously... Everyone knows Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best hockey player of all time. He's Canadian.
Yeah.
He went by the USA bench and he was like giving them all thumbs up. It was caught on video. And then there was his relationship with Trump, everything. Everyone's like, Gretzky, pick a side, man. What are you doing?
So to me, I feel like a little bit, you could say that a little bit, it's kind of leaning into it a little too hard. They were saying that he wasn't wearing red, right?
Yeah.
And if you see where he came from, he would have had to walk or skate. He was walking. So you'd have had to walk past the USA bench, right, to get to the, I guess, the carpet and walk all the way up to the podium, I think he was walking up to. So if you're going to do that, you're not walking past Team Canada's bench, right? So if he came from the other door, you don't know, he could have been thumbs up to Team Canada, right? Just walking by, just doing that, right? And just because obviously he has a close relationship to Trump, they're going to say, oh no, he's not Team Canada, right? Like Gretzky's a Canadian hockey player. I
100%.
think he would have
He's also so old, so mature. Like he's friends with probably a lot of people throughout his lifetime. He also played for
even the players that he gave the thumbs. He gave up the thumbs to the bench. He looked at them and he did it.
Yeah.
Even them, he probably has a relationship with them.
Yeah.
But as a fan, you're like, screw that, man. You walk by and you give him a thumbs down. You're Canadian.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like it. I can see that sentiment for sure. If you're into the game,
There's
you're
so
all
much of
amped
that
up
online.
about it, right? So I could see it, but I feel like a part of it is also just for pushback is people are leaning into it a little too hard because everyone's just trying to pull some sort of story out of something, right?
That's all this is now.
Did you see the commercial of him during the game?
Gretzky?
Yeah.
No.
And Jennifer Coolidge, you know who that is?
No.
The girl.
Oh, okay. From
Yeah.
American Pie?
Yeah. It was so funny. Like she just pretended not to know who he was, and she kept calling him Dwayne.
Oh, that girl. Yeah, she's funny.
She's so funny.
He's in White Lotus. Too.
Yeah, she's in White Lotus. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was this whole narrative online. They immediately shifted it that this was just an exhibition game. It didn't
Like petty stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right away.
Who's trying to shift it?
US.
The US?
Generally online, even Trump was saying it. He's just like, whatever, it could have went either way. Sure. And they're trying to act like it didn't matter to them. These guys want, if you saw right after the look on Matthew's face, Kachuk, he couldn't even move off the bench.
Yeah.
These guys were about to cry. They were devastated.
I'm going to call BS on all of
For
that.
sure.
On all of that.
They wanted this thing so bad.
Yeah.
And they didn't get it. And we did.
I think if Canada lost that,
oh my
it would
God.
have just compounded on the kind
100%.
of year that Canada's having.
We needed this.
Trump would have tweeted about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just an exhibition game, why is all this stuff that we're talking? Why is Trudeau sitting in a room watching it? Why is Trump calling Team USA? Do they do that for All-Star games? NBA had an All-Star game. Nobody gave a crap. Right? Nobody even knows who won. They had some sort of tournament thing going on. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if this was just a regular All-Star exhibition game, nobody would have cared.
Yeah.
This had everything on the line. This is bragging rights, and now this is a rivalry. I feel like it's going to be special.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be special.
It's
It's gonna put a lot of eyes on hockey now.
yeah.
Especially
Cameron's watching.
especially on the international level. I think it's good for the NHL. I
Yeah.
think they should ride this wave and market it well. And I think you could bring hockey back, right? It's because you might catch some fans now, right?
Yeah.
Look at that viewership.
Imagine now you end up with a Canadian team versus an American team in the finals, right? Maybe it's the Leafs, right? If that happens, you could get a glimpse of this.
Yeah.
Do you think your joy from the Leafs winning will be more than this if the Leafs ever won the cup?
Oh, for sure.
See,
Yeah.
the Leafs.
Or did it feel similar?
I think it'll feel similar because I love the Leafs, right?
Yeah.
And my whole life, they've never won a Stanley Cup. I want them to win one so bad.
Yeah.
But there's something about your country. It's not like there's like any real wars or anything
Right.
going on, but the country's hurting, man. The pulse of the country is in a weird place, right? And at that time, to get a victory, morally, it just does something.
Yeah.
Right? Like it fills your heart with like, yes, we can do it. I know it's just a sport and a hockey game, right? But it gives you this kind of hope where you're like, okay, man, we got this, right? Canada, we got this,
Yeah.
right?
And just knowing how bad it would have felt if we lost.
Oh my God.
I think then I would have cried.
That's why it was so scary.
Yeah.
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 And just comparatively, they haven't won an international play since '96. the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
against
that's
us.
been that long.
Yeah. And
Well, when did they stop playing in the Olympics?
just recently, I think it was like
Oh.
2015, 16, something
Yeah.
like that.
It's been like 8-9 years.
Yeah, but even outside of that, they only have 4 gold medals. Only 2 are in the Olympics.
Oh.
The other ones are in like
World
exhibition, but they count them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Right?
Yeah.
we only have 2.
Sidney
Canada gets
Crosby has 5. Their country has 4. Adam,
okay.
can't take our game.
I think, yeah. Let's move on to. Please like and subscribe, as it really does help the podcast out tremendously. Now let's get back to the pod. Let's move on to Donald Trump. So this is audio of him talking about the game, but towards the end, he calls Trudeau a loser.
Won the first game, and the second game was a great game. It could have gone either way. Justin's a loser, always has been, and he's just a guy that really doesn't. I think he's done a very bad job for Canada. He's taken it radical left. Justin's sort of a nice guy, but he's a loser.
Wow.
Savage, right? Yeah.
Who is he talking to?
I don't know.
I have no clue. I don't even know where this audio was recorded or what it is. For all we know, it could come out in a few days.
No, we watched a video of it. It looked like he was just sitting at his desk.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Could have been dubbed. You never know these days. Like,
Yeah.
it could have been like
never.
finding something
Yeah.
to replace this.
Yeah.
You
I
think
don't
it was like a hot mic situation?
It seems like it. Maybe it's on purpose. You never know these days. Like
you
you're
don't.
saying, right?
You don't.
Yeah.
But I feel like with him saying that, like in Canada, majority of the country is leaning towards a shift anyways, right?
Yeah.
And in the last 8-9 years, we've seen what Trudeau's done, right? And I feel like we see inflation go up and then it comes down, crime is up, right? The economy's in the toilet, GDP is tanking. Yeah. So, but with this guy, I feel like on top of it all, he doesn't really have any respect for Trudeau.
Yeah.
Right? He thinks he's a joke. Right.
Yeah.
So he even says, he's like, he's a nice guy, but he's a loser.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know where that's coming from. Right? Maybe he doesn't like the way his wife looked at him. Right? Times who know.
That picture.
Right? Maybe that one time he was like, all right, that's it for Canada. If I ever become president, you're going to get tariffs, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's still pretty unbecoming, right? You have a president to talk like that.
Right.
But I feel like he's so good he knows his voter base and he does this type of stuff on purpose. He like identifies with the common American, being like, this guy's a loser.
Yeah.
He likes talking like that on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Because he gets people on his side.
I could see that.
I could see that, but there's this part of me, I hate playing the victim card.
Yeah.
Right? If he's saying you're a loser, right? When you're in the room with a guy, don't act like a loser.
Exactly.
Right? Maybe have some brass where if he pokes a little bit of a joke, like poke him right back.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and if you're not going to be that guy and you're going to be kind of reserved and like maybe that's Justin's, I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Seems
who knows?
like a nice
he
guy.
seems like a nice guy who kind of like, I'm not saying he's nice because there's going to be a bunch of people in the comments that are going to say he's not a nice guy. He screwed over this, that, and the other. Right? And we're not saying that.
Yeah.
But I feel like his personality is one of those where he's not exactly a person who's going to engage in any kind of conflict.
Yeah.
Right. So then with that,
Canadian.
but I feel like, I mean, right now, if you shifted this and Polyev came into power, I think these guys wouldn't agree on much. But imagine those two in a room. I don't think Trump's ever going to walk away saying that guy's a loser.
Yeah.
He might say, I hate that guy. I don't agree with him. He's being a hard ass or whatever he wants to say. He's being stubborn.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to walk away being like, Polyev, that guy looks like a loser.
Yeah.
He's not.
He gives off that vibe, Polyev.
Yeah, he gives off the vibe of the guy you
Don't
want.
mess with me too much.
Yeah, right now. Like, that's what Canada needs right now.
For sure.
Like, that's what I feel personally, right? Like, you need somebody who isn't going to let somebody like Trump turn your country into a joke.
Yeah.
Who's going to keep being like, nah, calm down. We're fine. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be good. Right?
Yeah.
As to what like Indy was saying though, like I was watching this Eminem interview where he was talking. He was a Kamala supporter, obviously.
Yeah.
He was talking about Trump, and he's like, Trump, like he's smart. He only wants to talk to his baseline supporters.
Yeah.
Like let's just quote unquote dumber individuals, but he's doing it on purpose. He doesn't give a about them. That's just his tactic.
Yeah.
So I'll give you pushback there. I don't think the Republican base is dumber, right? Like if that's Eminem would just say something like that, but like I feel like the left usually what they do is they like to dumb down and be like, Republicans are just stupid for believing this, that, and the other, right? That's been the narrative that they've been pushing for years now, right? When in reality, I feel like the same thing that's happening here happened there, right? You have a government that lets this woke ideology just run rampant, right? And then you let immigration go. Like, it's crazy. It's the same thing happened here. Inflation goes through the roof. At the same time, you guys like open up the gates to let as many immigrants in as possible. Isn't that going to add to the immigration problem and the crime problem? It obviously is, right? So then from that, you're going to get a massive shift, right? And if for Eminem, I love his music, love the dude. But
I agreed with him.
You agree with him?
Think about that, the Capitol where they all like went there. Do you think those were intellectual individuals? Those are the Trump supporters.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Why?
No, I think, okay, you're talking about January 6th?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories behind that. If it actually happened, the way it happened, apparently some of those guys are going to get pardoned. There's a lot going on with that, right? So it's not just as simple as like there's a bunch of idiots just roaming through the halls, right? That's how they made it seem like it was some sort of, what do they call it? Insurrection? Insurrection, right? So they like to use these terms to label people, right? But the left is usually this pompous people who want to look down and be like, we're better because we're trying to be really progressive and we're not like, moral high ground, blah, 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 blah. When in reality, what do? They raise taxes like crazy. And if you're going to talk about Trump supporters, right? Look on the flip side. You think left-wing Democrats, you think they're geniuses? Kamala can't get out a sentence in the debate. She was fine, but
about her.
Yeah.
But even look at the supporters. It's arguable, right? Like, who's a Trump supporter? Elon Musk, richest guy in the world, arguably one of the smartest guys in the world, right? Joe Rogan, right? He's one of the best podcasters ever.
Talk about the smartest guy.
No, so then I can name some dumb guys on that side. Don Lemon. I think personally the guy's stupid, right? Who else? Like, we can go through the list, right? There's so many of them on the left that aren't.
I like how that one was first.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that personally, for me, political opinions, I think they're idiots too, right? So you can make that case for anyone and try to generalize and put people down.
Yeah.
I think instead of putting people down, the better approach is always to say why what we're doing is better for you, right? Why this is better for the country, instead of being like, you're too stupid, right? And that's what the left likes to do. And that's what people are sick of. And that's what people are sick with Trudeau and the liberals, right? They're sick of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like for me, I feel like it's not necessarily dumb people, but he's talking to the common American, just like we're common Canadians. I don't think I'm hyper intelligent or anything. I'm so smart, right? He talks on that level.
Average Joe, right?
Yeah, he talks to your average
use
Joe.
the word dumb.
He talks like that.
Yeah.
On purpose, because he's talking to everyone when he says that. Like,
but someone's doing it intentionally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's very intentional.
So it's called being a populist, right? Like, you're gonna do it to relate to the general population, because if you're running the political game, right? What else are you gonna do? If you're gonna win an election, what's a goal? Relate to as many people as possible so people vote for you, right? And what's been going on there? The middle class has been getting decimated, just like it's getting decimated here, which is usually one of the bigger voter bases.
Yeah.
Right? Like, younger people or people less fortunate don't really vote. Usually they don't care, right? And it's usually people older or who have money in the game, or people who support certain social issues so aggressively. They're the people that are going to go out and vote.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to speak to somebody there.
For sure.
Right? And when all of this stuff's going on with all the trans stuff in schools and the immigration and the crime and all of it, right? What were they saying? Like, you had Kamala used to be the borders whore, right? And she was like, she was just back and forth with what she was doing, right? Even if you look at Biden, when the inauguration was happening, the guy pardoned his whole family while the inauguration was going on, right? So I feel like it's not like, me personally, I don't think the Republican voter base is unintelligent or less intelligent than the left-wing guys. To me, I see a lot of, this is me personally, I see a lot of kooky people on the left, right? Especially in the States, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. But as to what you were saying, I would do the same thing Biden did. Just FYI.
What do you mean?
I would pardon my whole family too.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Who wants their family to go to jail?
But you're just proving that they did something wrong when you did that, right?
Not really. You're not proving it.
You're protecting them because they probably did something wrong.
Or maybe your administration went after Trump so hard that, when this guy gets in office, if there's anything, he's coming.
You're just protecting them.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Biden at this point is
Where is he?
I don't know.
Yeah, where is he?
But I do feel like he's calling him a loser, and I think a lot of Canadians agree with that, or they have. But this whole push Canadian pride, like we were talking about during the game, I feel like people are like, "Hey, don't call him a loser." There's a lot of that too.
Trudeau?
Yeah, don't call our guy anything. There's so much
a
of
lot of things he could have said other than that word.
Yeah.
Like he could have just said these are the things he does. Like when he's like he didn't do good
but
for the
it couldn't
country.
have hit the same.
Cool. Yeah,
It was so much more funny when he said,
Yeah, I mean,
you're a loser.
yes,
exactly. That's how Canadians feel.
Yeah, no, if somebody, like, that's how you would react if somebody asked Trudeau the question, he would probably just ignore it and keep it moving, right? That's
Yeah.
how you should react,
Yeah.
right? Be like, the president says a lot of things. I think he's a loser.
Yeah.
Go for it, right? Done. Back and forth banter, right? If you want to, right? If you want to back down, then back down, right? But like, I mean, as far as like the Liberal Party here goes, the guy's already resigned.
Yeah.
Right? He's on his way out, right? And the country, we all know what the pulse of the country is. Before this whole thing happened with the proroguing parliament until March 9th, there was a lot of momentum behind Poilievre, right? And now the guy's not in front of TV. He's streaming and doing as best as he can, but he's not in parliament.
Yeah.
Right? He's not on TV every single day.
Yeah.
So you don't get this whole a lot of TV time with the guy. So then he kind of goes in the shadows, and now you're gonna talk about Trudeau, right?
Yeah.
And then like now you have Mark Carney. He's basically the guy who used to be Trudeau's advisor. We've talked about it so many times, right? They're trying to prop him up, right? Did you guys see what happened to Ruby Dullah? How she got disqualified.
Oh man.
She found out on air on the CBC broadcast.
Yeah. You were telling me about that.
Yeah.
I watched
It
it
was
after.
so cringy.
She didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like her team's that bad. She's like, there's nothing confirmed from my team. And
Okay.
then later she released a statement.
Do you guys know like what was going on? There was basically 6 couples, right, who used the same credit card to donate to her campaign, right?
Sketch.
Yeah,
what's
so
sketchy?
very
Super
obviously she was doing some sort of fraud. But then when she posted her statement online, she's like, "Oh, they disqualified me because I was so close. They didn't want me on the ballot."
Right?
They were saying she was saying like her views are too like they're too progressive or something for like everybody. Like that they were
the
too
female
outlandish.
Donald
They
Trump.
want to like yeah.
Yeah, they said that there was some sort of non-Canadian citizens that were, contributing to her campaign.
Yeah, there was 9 different things, I think.
Yeah.
They said she did.
10 violations.
Okay.
Yeah, and then she responded to I'm paraphrasing here, but something along the lines of it's in the South Asian community, there's a lot of well-wishers, I think she said.
Oh.
And they were just offering their friendly advice and and they were just trying to help me in the campaign. That doesn't mean it's foreign interference. To which I think the Liberal committee responded, if this was during the actual elections, that is foreign interference, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know what they mean. But at the end of the day, even the kicker to this, did you hear that she was supposed to do a French debate, right? So she doesn't know how to speak French, right?
She doesn't know how to speak.
She doesn't know how to speak French.
So how is she even allowed to run for prime minister?
Yeah, so she asked for an interpreter and they said no, right? And then she was like, okay, I'll just do the opening statement and closing statement and I won't participate in the debate. Yeah.
She just wanted to like be there.
Yeah. So you're gonna just practice this opening statement and read it off of a paper.
That's
and
so
then
stupid.
this lady thinks that she's gonna win the Liberal leadership race.
Yeah, she was like, they're scared I'll beat Carney. They saved this girl from some embarrassment.
Yeah.
That's all they did. It would have been
I
more.
think like she gets a refund though.
Like
it was a
350K.
big chunk of money.
Did you hear about this too?
No.
she's like,
But the
I don't
card
know.
didn't go through.
This is all like I don't know. It all bounced.
Decline.
Well, that's a big amount
Yeah,
of
yeah.
credit card to have.
So
no?
apparently she's like
line equity.
she's like they waited
Yeah.
until it was past the deadline and only 50,000 of that 350,000 now gets returned and they get to keep 300 grand, right?
Wow.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she was saying.
Damn.
But there's so much to this.
There's
There
so
was
much. The comments about her is so like she's like the biggest catfish.
Yeah. Catfish Canada.
Damn.
She just wanted to go to the debate so people know what she looks like because they'd be like, "What your picture?"
Yeah.
The masked
she's
face.
clearly got some work done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Photoshop.
Yeah. But a lot of this stuff is alleged.
Yeah. All of
I don't
it.
know what's true or not.
Yeah.
This is just things that we've heard, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys want to move on?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's move on. These are merely our opinions based on our life experiences, knowledge, and research. Maybe you agree or disagree or simply want to be a part of the conversation. Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. Now let's get back to the pod. Sure. All right, let's move on to this high-speed train that Canada might be getting at some point. Here's a clip of Trudeau making the announcement.
Today, I'm announcing the launch of ALTO, the largest infrastructure project in Canadian history. A high-speed rail network between Quebec City and Toronto with stops in Trois-Rivières, Laval, Montreal, Ottawa, and Peterborough. It'll span 1,000 kilometers with 100% electric trains that will reach speeds of 300 kilometers
That's Anita Anand, I think, right?
Yeah, it is. Minister? Yeah.
That was the key word you said, alleged, right? Or
what?
Not alleged. You're like, it might happen.
Yeah, it might happen.
Right? That's the thing. It's going to take forever. It's going to cost how much?
So they're saying what he was saying before, I think it was like 3.9 billion, but that's just for what he's contributing from the federal budget right now.
Yeah.
Right. This whole thing is going to cost somewhere in the realm of $60-90 billion to make.
Yeah.
It hasn't,
right.
like, it didn't start or anything.
No. So what they're talking about right now is the developmental phases to sign the contracts to even get this thing going, which is going to take 5 to 6 years to develop. And then they're going to start construction.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He's like announcing it like it's going to happen next week.
You know what the weird thing about this whole thing is? The timing of it all. Like, we can talk about how exciting and stuff it is afterwards. So Poilievre has this dollar for dollar plan, right? Where he said, I don't know, something along the lines of every dollar spent, for every dollar spent, there will be a dollar saved or invested.
Yeah.
Right? Now imagine billions of dollars going to a train, right? In your first couple of years. Well, how are you going to offset that? Where are you going to save that? Are you going to cut taxes somewhere? What are you going to do? What are you going to invest in?
For sure.
Right? Or you can argue that the train is the investment.
Yeah.
Right? And then just double.
That's what I would
spend.
Or can he choose to scrap that plan altogether?
I don't know. I think if this guy puts it into motion, even to get out of something like that, you're going to have to pay some sort of money to get out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's going to be contracts.
There's going to be losses.
There's going to be, like, buying out of the contract, some sort of, maybe a legal battle or something. Who knows?
Yeah. Has Poilievre said anything regarding
some of the conservative members of parliament? They were coming out and they're saying they're pretty against it. I didn't read anything from Poilievre, but they were just like, it's going to take too much time and money. Like the CPR took 4 years to build, and that was in a time where there was a lot cheaper labor, and obviously illegally using Chinese immigrants, and a lot of people died. It was pretty crazy how they got that whole thing built, right? There's a crazy history about it. You're not going to get to do any of that.
It's also one of the largest railways in the country, and it was built way back in the day, right?
And that thing took 4 years. This thing's going to cost from 30 to 90 billion.
No, it's going to be somewhere between 60 and 90 billion, maybe upwards of $100 billion to make this thing, right?
On the low end, 5 years, right?
No. What? No. The developmental stage in this thing is going to take about 5 or 6 years, right? You're talking about they're going to start doing construction on this thing in like 2030. This thing is going to be built somewhere in the mid 2030s.
Yeah.
From anything I've read or anything that I know.
Yeah. So look at that.
I didn't realize there was such a need.
Okay, so now let's talk about the positive stuff.
Yeah.
Right? The positive stuff is, like, if you look at like major countries, like you look at Europe, you look at England, you look at anywhere over there, they have some sort of transit system, right? Like they'll have a lot of buses and trains and a lot of things that run through there, right? Yeah. Like I think London has one of the most efficient bus systems in the world. There's buses that come every minute,
I've heard
right?
about that.
And then if you're going to look at the United States, you look at the freeway system there, right? And there's so many freeways. Whenever you get close to any major city, there's freeways intersecting all over the place. There's bypasses. You can get around stuff, right? In Canada, try to go
anywhere
in any major
during
city.
rush hour.
Yeah, like there's not multiple decisions you can make to avoid traffic. There's not massive infrastructure in buses, in anything really, right? So on that side of it, if we're going to take the politics and the money and all of that out, I'm excited. If I'm just looking at it like a childish or like a naive perspective of not like where the money's going, it's exciting to see that Canada is going to be doing something that is a high-speed railway that connects Montreal and Quebec and Toronto and Peterborough. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Ottawa too.
Right?
Yeah, when we were in Italy, we went on these high-speed trains there.
Yeah.
They go, I think, roughly the same speed, like 300 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Yo, those trains are so cool.
Yeah.
I was telling him, I'm like, I would rather do this than sit in a plane. They're so spacious. You like, I slept in one, like, and it goes fast.
Can you feel it?
No.
So
It's so smooth. You just look outside and you're like, whoa, we're going fast.
really?
Yeah.
So if theoretically, if I'm on it, can I work?
You can sleep. You can.
So look at
They're
that.
they're way more comfortable than, I don't know if they're going to be the same because I don't know what Alto is. I don't know what Italy's version is.
Yeah.
But when we were on them, we took them from, I think it was
Florence to Rome. We took them everywhere.
Florence, Rome.
We even took it from Venice.
Yeah. And it goes, and the whole time you're just sitting there. You can work on whatever you want, right? So, I mean,
it's so
like,
fast. I think we saved hours on our journey.
And it feels just like a regular train?
It's smoother than like the Go.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can work on the Go.
Yeah.
And that one had like a lot of leg room and space. I don't know how this is gonna end up.
Yeah, that one was
business class.
That one had like someone coming around with food.
Like
it felt very luxury, and it wasn't. It was like a really cheap ticket.
Yeah, like how much do you think this one will cost? Probably expensive.
It won't be cheap.
Because look at like the Union Station train. I feel like that train's
No.
so
How much is the Via Rail
Pearson.
from Toronto to Windsor? It's like 120 bucks, right?
Probably more now. Back when I used
Toronto
to
to
do that, it was
Windsor,
like
I
80
don't know.
bucks.
Yeah, it's somewhere around like $100.
Yeah.
I would imagine with, well, we don't know what the hell when this thing finishes 2035 what prices will be like.
What inflation is like.
Yeah.
But I would imagine it'd be less than $200 for sure.
Yeah.
Like $150. I don't think it'd be more than that for like a
And right now, driving to Quebec City is what, like 7-8 hours?
Quebec City's like 8. Getting to Montreal,
Like 6, right?
it's supposed to be 5, but that drive, depending on the season and the traffic, it could be 7. Just getting to Montreal, 6.
I think the exciting thing about this is think about like in the summertime, right? Like if you want to go to cottages, you want to do these kind of things. And a lot of time, especially for people who live in Ontario, right? Like you can just go from
Something
Toronto,
else to do, right?
right? Yeah, you can go from Toronto to like even Ottawa, go explore, right? Go to Montreal, go explore.
And Quebec City's so pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? When you get to, it opens up this tourist from not even like from an outside perspective for Canadians here, right? Instead of just driving 5-6 hours, you take a 3-hour train ride and you're in a completely different province. It feels like you're on a vacation.
Honestly, you could go there for a weekend.
Exactly.
Just go and come back.
Yeah, it
Like
changes
Quebec
everything.
City.
I think from that perspective, it does change everything.
Yeah.
From the working perspective, I don't know if somebody working in Ottawa is going to catch a train to downtown Toronto. Maybe theoretically.
You could
Right.
if it's only like 2 hours and you can like. There's so much remote working now. You can work on the way. Like I was saying,
That's crazy. I
work on
didn't
the way.
think of that.
Yeah, theoretically, that would make it so.
People's commute in the GTA is roughly an
Go
hour.
from Niagara and work to Toronto.
yeah.
If you can get from Ottawa to Toronto in 2 hours, I think people would consider it.
They might.
Yeah.
You might start
Wow.
living there,
Yeah.
Well, they take away jobs.
or like
imagine
create
even-
new living environments.
Even if
in different
somebody
places.
lives in Peterborough, they could probably catch a train to
Them for
Ottawa
yeah,
in
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Easy. So that opens up, working and like it connects the two cities and provinces in a good way.
there's a lot of positives.
Yeah.
Overall,
But at the end of the day, if you are going to do something like this, it's going to take multiple governments. I feel like it's not something that's going to happen in like 4 years.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So even if Polyev was to announce it, it's obviously going to be a liberal idea because liberals like to spend.
they're the only ones backing it.
Yeah.
Even the Bloc is pretty.
That's-
Bloc's like they'll do it, but they don't want because their whole plan that he announced has a bunch of private companies in it. They don't want that.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like it's gonna cost way more.
I even read somewhere, and I don't know if this is true, but I read that Air Canada is even a part of this thing, right? Because it would kind of cut the flights to these places, right?
Yeah.
And kind of.
So they want to invest for a bit.
So they're in this a little bit. Then there's also this whole side of how it's going to create 51,000 jobs.
Yeah.
And Trudeau was saying that they're going to use aluminum and steel, right? But the flip side of that is that's not going to happen for another 5 to 6 years, right? These 51,000 jobs aren't going to get created now. Who knows what the economy looks like at that time, right? So if this is going to happen, it might be a positive thing where certain steel and aluminum manufacturers start to build up their facilities so they can accommodate a railway. So it might give some optimism. But for right now, I don't think it does anything to the country's GDP.
Yeah.
Right.
The timing of it's interesting.
Yeah.
On his way out.
Definitely. Let's move on to the Bank of Canada's governor, Tiff Macklem. He was warning us about long-term tariffs and how Canada probably won't recover from these things basically ever.
Yeah. The consequences of a protracted trade conflict would be severe. But it would be very different, a very different shock than the COVID-19 shock. In the pandemic, we had a steep recession followed by a rapid recovery as the economy reopened. This time, if tariffs are long-lasting and broad-based, there won't be a bounce back. We may eventually regain our current rate of growth, but the level of output will be permanently lower. It's more than a shock. It's a structural change. So what would this all mean for economic growth? Well, in our January projection with no tariffs, we forecast growth of about 1.8% in both 2025 and 2026. But in the tariff scenario, the level of Canadian output falls almost 3% over 2 years. That's the blue line. That implies tariffs would all but wipe out growth in the economy for those 2 years.
To me, that seems like if these tariffs are, they sound like they're coming a little bit in some form.
Yeah.
Mass layoffs and lowering production overall in the country for at least 2 years, he's saying.
Okay. To me, it feels like, I think it's naive to, the steel and aluminum is pretty much already on the table, right? I don't know if auto is going to happen. Auto is a really big one that the country would feel massively. I don't know if Trump's going to do these blanket tariffs. To me, that feels like that was just something that was more of a threat, right? And if they take care of the border, that should go away.
Yeah.
But the regular negotiating until the USMCA gets signed or something, I think this stuff is real, right?
Yeah.
But he's talking about extreme case scenario. If you look at his case, then I think, he's saying that GDP will permanently be lower, right? Which means that, companies are going to respond by cutting production, right? And then you're going to have layoffs, like he was saying. And then at the same time, if you're going to get retaliatory tariffs, right, you're going to get things are going to get more expensive for Canadians at a time when people are fired. A quarter of the country, would probably lose their income.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like even in the full press conference, he was alluding to that.
Household income would drop, obviously.
Yeah. You would see people get fired, right? So what would these guys have to do? They'd have to lower interest rates, right? Which means the Canadian dollar is now tanking, right? Which is another bad thing for tariffs, right? And this cycle starts, right? And you would probably see the worst economic recession. I don't even know if 08, 09 was even close to this. And I think the one thing that people don't consider, if this was that bad, is you can lower interest rates all you want. If your income gets cut by 50%, 30%, what the hell are you going to do with lower interest rates?
What does it matter if you don't have interest?
Yeah, if you're servicing credit card debt, right, and the payment gets lower, if you're fired, what are you going to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If there's no jobs out there, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right. So if it was to get that bad, I think the country, I don't know, it would be, I think, the worst economic times of our lifetime. For sure. Right.
I mean, these guys they're clearly scared. A lot of people are. There's already some talk of UBI too. Starting to sprout up again, talking about it. I don't know if that's a solution, but he's saying there's going to have to be a structural change in policy. That's what it's going to take to combat these things.
Well, a lot of the structural change would also be some things like investing in Canada, right? Structural change would also be, he's not saying it because he's trying to be impartial, is you would build pipelines, right? You start shipping oil to different countries. Structural change in the sense that maybe we start getting cars from other places more than we get from the States. Maybe all of those kind of things, right? So there's a lot, those are structural changes, right? And things that a government can do, right? Also invest in your own country to start building things here. You start incentivizing, other businesses, which then if you're growing the country, but these things take years, decades, right? It doesn't happen.
And these things are coming overnight.
So that's like the glim side of it. On the positive side of it, the reality I think will happen, you're going to get very targeted tariffs, right? Where Trump is trying to make money for his country, right? And we've seen him before. What he's doing is trying to lower taxes, and he has to offset and make revenue somewhere, and tariffs are his favorite thing to make revenue for, right? Which if he also does this in 2 years, it's also going to cause Americans a lot of pain, right? So if he does it that much, right? So I feel like you're kind of in a place where I don't think it's going to be as bad as people are saying, but I think it's also naive to think that there will be no tariffs. I think there's going to be this stretch of the next 6 months to maybe 18 months where you're going to have some sort of back and forth. Maybe Poilievre comes into office. Maybe this guy thinks Poilievre's not a loser. And maybe they actually start negotiating. And all of a sudden, you have something that's not as great as the USMCA or NAFTA was so favorable to Canada, but you have something. Right? I don't think it's going to be this all out. But like everyone's on this panic mode where people are saying gone are the days post World War II where you had basically global free trade, and now are coming the days of protectionist mindset where self-dependent countries.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's, I feel like he's already hinting towards he doesn't want to lower rates anymore, but he kind of has to.
He has no choice.
These things are coming too.
Yeah.
It's, I don't envy him.
You're going to say like, you're basically, your country's going to shit.
Yeah.
No. It'll be a rough time for Canada. You don't have any other choice but to lower rates, bro. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And the worst thing is when tariffs happen, if your dollar's weak, you're taxing yourself twice. Bro.
Yeah.
It's hard then. And Canada's in a tough spot.
Saying that, okay, so future-wise, Trump's only in office for 4 years.
Yeah.
He's saying in 4 years we won't be able to recover because once someone else comes, who's to say he's going to have the same policies as Trump? You think once the tariffs are set, they're going to be set forever?
No, that's not how it works, right? But you can economically damage a country in those 2 years, and that country might not recover for a decade, right? There's still people in the States that have lost everything in 08, 09. They still haven't recovered.
How about that? Like, there's already a housing crisis, they say, right?
Yeah.
Do you think if these things come and they hurt and he does some blanket tariff, worst case scenario, if the worst case scenario happens, won't we be in a position that like just owning a home would be a luxury? Like people can't get homes. How are you going to be able to buy one?
I mean, I think you can take that two ways. One is either you might be in a position where what you're saying, everything's now because of retaliatory tariffs, the regular everyday items are going up and, your expenses are going up. Two is Canadians are over leveraged like crazy. Right? Especially with these mortgages.
Yeah.
So if you're going to then look at that and a bunch of people lose their jobs, I think the housing market could flip on its head. Like we have no idea of predicting that. I know there's a lot of influencers and people and real estate agents that are pushing like, oh, best time to buy. I don't know if it's the best time to buy.
You could get stuck.
Yeah, all of these houses are going under asking for sure.
Yeah.
But what if you purchase a house and now a bunch of houses come on the market, you lose your job? What are you going to do? We don't know what's happening tomorrow.
It's definitely a scary time.
Yeah, if it like there's been good markets, and I think you got to be a little bit smart here. Again, this isn't financial advice, but you got to sometimes there's just too much risk involved, right? If you can't afford what you're trying to invest in or whatever, if you're just trying to make money off of capital appreciation, maybe this isn't the time, right? And if I might not be right? Because if these tariffs don't come and you invest now and then interest rates come low, obviously these properties are going to skyrocket.
And you came out on top, right?
But if you're looking at some of the key variables right now, right? If people are going to get unemployed, right? So labor market is going to get a little messed up, right? Immigration, they're trying to cut it off a little bit so there's less immigrants in the country, right? Those two things alone, right, are going to make the housing market, maybe there's more inventory.
Yeah.
Right? And if there's more inventory, house
There's
prices are
so
going to come
much
down.
inventory right now, though.
But if you got a lot of inventory, nobody has jobs, nobody can buy it.
House prices are coming down then.
I think even now owning a house is a luxury. There's so many things articles that you read that kids just live with their parents. Like millennials, I think, can't afford a house.
Yeah.
Like how our parents could.
Yeah.
Or everyone needs help from their parents to buy a house.
Yeah,
I think I read that.
Even couples are moving in. What are they calling them? Inflation ships.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, they're moving in before they're married, before they're even ready to.
Yeah.
Just to save money. They're like, yo, we've been dating for 2 years.
Yeah.
Remember, you used to say this all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we just bought property and real estate right when we met.
Yeah.
Well, I say that because we used to go to stupid expensive restaurants for no reason.
Oh, you're naive.
Those are fun times.
It was definitely good steak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely heavy stuff. I feel like I don't think it's going to get as bad as what he's saying. He's kind of just outlining what the worst case scenario would be. Yeah, and I feel like this is something you want to keep your eye on, especially if you're planning on investing in stocks, real estate, anything is something you want to keep an eye on what's going on with these tariffs so you don't make a mistake somewhere.
For sure. I think it's good to put that fear in people a little bit too. Like, don't just splurge on things.
I mean, stupid people are going to do stupid things, right?
100% in every scenario.
Yeah. There's a lot of people even now that I feel like when interest rates were so low, they bought houses that they couldn't afford. And then when interest rates skyrocketed, a lot of people lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't pretty for a lot of people. And people don't learn unless they experience some sort of turmoil, right?
Even now, I read that they're not getting as many bankruptcies as they thought they would. Like, people are holding on tight until they can.
Historically, you know how Canadians are, right? Like, they will cancel everything, but that mortgage won't bounce.
That house, yeah.
That's the last thing.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't look at it. I feel like a lot of people don't look at when you are over budgeted and over leveraged in your house, right? You can cancel Netflix as much as you want. It's not going to change your massive mortgage payment that your jobs can barely make. It's not going to change it. Right. So unless you have an exit strategy and a plan on what you want to do, you could get screwed, right? And a part of that is where people are very used to during regular markets to be like, we're just going to wait. This will fix itself.
Sure, because they don't want to sell their house at such a low price,
right?
Or what they think or what they've built in their head.
But like, look at this stuff started happening with higher interest rates, what, like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Right? If you take those 2 years and now these tariffs come in for 2 years, right? There's certain people who are not going to have gone on a vacation, enjoyed a Christmas, had a dinner, nothing, right? They might have kids. Those kids aren't going to see any. It can suck the happiness out of your life if you're over leveraged like that, right? So it's scary. I don't think
Even
people.
the problems it'll cause.
Definitely. The stress that's on everything, right? So I think people, because in past markets, the market recovers and anyone can be like, no vacations a year, 2 years, whatever, right? But prolonged, right? If you're not going to spend any quality, I'm not saying go on vacation, right? But like, if you're not going to spend any quality time, right? And you're going to waste 4 or 5 years of your life, barely holding on to some stupid house. It's hard, man. You lose a lot of life there. You lose a lot of time there.
For sure.
Right?
It's tough.
But yeah, so I think let's move on to the politicizing of the movement buying Canadian. So I thought supporting Canadian business was obviously just common sense, right? And everyone should do it, right? And, it's common sense that Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple, we get it. Those aren't Canadian companies and there's no Canadian alternative. I'm not saying go and cancel your subscriptions, right? But to me personally, I would think that you just support a local business that's in your area, And that was even before these tariffs, right? Like if you're looking at butcher shops or you're looking at farmers or anyone in your area that sells any niche products or anything, go support the business, right? Because if you're a Canadian, maybe you want to start a business. Do you want people not to support your business? Like, I don't get it, right? But on the flip side of it, there is also American franchises that are owned by Canadian people, right? And those employ Canadians. So if you boycott them completely, it's still affecting Canadians, right? But what the movement has started is people are basically saying, if you support Buy Canadian, you're on the left or liberal, right? And if you don't support Buy Canadian, you're on the right or conservative, right? And the whole mindset, to my understanding, is what? They're saying that, it's very stupid because what are you going to do, buy tomatoes and what are you going to do about iPhones? Right? That's kind of the mindset?
It's like this thing, it was never intended to be political, I think. I don't know if it's just because Trudeau's the one that said it.
Right.
But there is this sentiment that like the liberals would fight against these tariffs with Trump better than, let's say, Polyev would, right?
I think that's crazy. But
but that's a sentiment online. Like they were so far ahead. I think Polyev had a 30-point lead at a point. They're much closer in the
I saw
party
that.
now. Also, these polls, who the hell knows what the hell, where they come from or anything. But yeah, it has shifted to that. This Buy Canadian has turned into a leftist movement.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I feel like the polls are kind of just shifting because Poilievre's doing his best to stay in the public eye. He just doesn't have an option. I think that's politics. And I think that's a political game at its best.
A lot of politics have been being played right now.
I mean, nobody thinks, if you talk to any Canadian, right, who's pissed off at the direction of the country, if you want to talk about where it is now and we're in this place and now we're in a tariff war, imagine if we weren't here.
Yeah.
In this, between a rock and a hard place, right?
Yeah.
Then it would be a lot easier to fight these tariffs, right? But the GDP has been going to crap for the last few years, right?
Yeah.
Who was in power? Trudeau. Who was his economic advisor? Mark Carney. So these delusional people that think that they're going to do better at dealing with tariffs are delusional.
Maybe Ruby would have.
Huh? Ruby? Yeah, like to me, I feel like if you're going to talk about these tariffs, I do think that Poilievre would do a much better job, personally speaking.
Yeah.
At negotiating anything, right? At being the kind of person who's not going to take any BS and try to have a backbone for Canada and really actually go at people, be the kind of leader that, you know, makes you proud to be like, yeah, we got a guy that's going to talk some shit, right? We got a guy who's going to stand up for us, right? We got a guy who is like Trump then, right? Who is going to go back and forth and be like, nah, Canada's got this, who's going to build a military, do all these things. So I don't think even the public eye has shifted. I think these polls and this political game is just a weird one. With all that said, there's nothing wrong with supporting Canadian businesses. What the hell?
The only thing I could say to that is I would imagine people that are trendy are more liberal. So maybe that's how they're relating it. Like it's the trendy thing to do to also buy. Like I'm all for buying local, supporting small businesses, whatever. But it's also like everything becomes this fad. Everything becomes trendy, and then it almost seems like it's not a good thing.
Right.
But no, it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird but I would think it's a trend, and then because they're liberal, now they're making it all political.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I've always felt that way, right?
Yeah.
Support local whenever you can.
For sure.
Like, any local stores you have around, right? And that it's easier sometimes, like you said, at the butcher or anywhere that's in front of your face. But it's pretty hard because so many American businesses like employ Canadians, right? So it's hard to differentiate sometimes if you're going, oh, I'm just going to boycott that. You're actually hurting your own country in some scenarios.
Yeah.
When you don't intend to, but it's happening.
I think just politicizing this whole movement is so wacky, man. Like, I don't think normal Canadians, right? People who have common sense, right? For the most part, people want a shift, right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of Canadians are leaning right now in terms in that sense, right? Because you need somebody who's going to start spending money like crazy, right? Who's just out here just building trains or whatever, right? But like, it's on the flip side of it. I don't like if he was in office and he was like, we're going to buy Canadian and this is how we're going to go about it, then it would have been a right wing movement, right? Sure. And because now the left side now, it's a left wing movement, right?
This world I feel like has become, nothing can just be like what it is.
No.
Like if I want to buy something red, now all of a sudden I'm against some
blue.
sort of somebody.
I
can't just buy a red shirt.
No.
That's what everything is. So now buying local has just, now it's just this war about it. No, wait.
Don't you feel like it's harder than ever? Because I feel like most people feel this way. Personally, most people that I know, when it comes to money, right, they lean right? Because they think free market, capitalism, lower taxes, incentivize businesses, right? When it comes to social issues, they're more libertarian or even lean left a little bit, right? Because they're like, everyone should have the right to do whatever they want, not whatever they want, as long as they're not harming people or, committing any crimes, right? Like you shouldn't control what they're allowed to do, right? That's typically usually most people.
That's what you would think,
right?
Well, you never know.
But if you're trying to be in the center, right, and you're just trying to do like logical things, right, they almost try to force you to pick a side.
For sure.
Right? Because like push comes to shove, if somebody's like to me, well, you got to support Canadian businesses or you get Poilievre in office. At this point in my mind, I'm gonna have to be like, okay, hold on.
I want to
know which one makes sense right now. I can't support Canadian businesses. Like that's where I think you end up. Right.
Then you get labeled as a person that doesn't support.
And now you're a right wing guy. And you're just all the way on the right. Right.
When it comes to like government, you kind of have to pick one. And if one means that thing, like you don't support it, that's just kind of what you have to. That's just what it has to be.
Well, yeah, but don't you guys feel like there's just the way that government cycles work too. It just goes like this.
Yeah.
Right. And if somebody's in power too long, their ideology or agenda is there for too long. People want to change. Then the other one comes.
Now.
Yeah. Right. It's been too long. This guy's been in office for 9 years. Right. So now you're going to see probably, honestly, 4 to 8 years of conservatives being in power, which would probably be a great thing for Canada.
Yeah.
Right. During this time, like I'm not. If it's going to feel like this is just a Polyev campaign video. But I feel like during this time when there's so much of this protectionist mindset, you need somebody like Polyev, man. That's just how I feel. You want somebody who's going to go fight for you, right? Not somebody who somebody else is going to call a loser, right?
Yeah.
No, for sure.
I mean,
sorry.
I mean, outside of that, right? Just trying to, if you're going to be impartial, these guys want to pit us against each other. Right. They want this. They want you to pick a side. When it comes to voting for anyone, like my advice would be just do what's best for you, your family, your beliefs, and your pocket. Think about those things and then vote for the guy that you think's going to do that, guy or girl, whoever it may be.
Right.
But this is what they want. They want to take this Canadian movement and go, this is ours.
Yeah.
This is the Liberals movement.
Yeah, it's all a political game, right? They're just trying to win those votes, right? And be like, if you want to support Canadian businesses, then come vote for us, right?
You can do both. You can be right-wing or have right-wing beliefs and support Canadian businesses. You're allowed to.
I agree with you 100%. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to support Canadian businesses and I want Polyev to be president. Like, that's my personal opinion. But I think that's it for the stories. Let's move on to off topic.
Yeah, so let's just start with ASAP Rocky.
Okay, so for ASAP Rocky, a verdict was reached in his trial. So just as a refresher, what the trial was, he was charged for shooting his former friend, ASAP Relly. So we talked about this case before when he rejected the plea deal that he was given to 6 months in jail. Yes.
Good move.
And then, but he was heavily criticized for doing that. But then that meant, because he rejected it, that the case went to trial and he had the potential of going to jail for 24 years. But the verdict just came in and he was not guilty. So we have a video of what happened in court.
Superior Court, County of Los Angeles. People of the State of California versus Joaquin Mayers. Case number BA 508142-01. We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of the
Good, man. This guy took a breath there.
See, that's a man who's relieved.
Right?
Yeah. How he jumped in real.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, she was there?
Yeah. She jumped up screaming.
He like nose dived into them.
He threw that one lady to the side.
Yeah.
That was super
Quick hug and was like, move.
No, she came. He said, I don't want you.
Like crash into each other. It's just so much emotion at the time.
verdict has to be read up. Yes, sir. Repeat again. We, the jury, above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of the semi-automatic firearm.
Look at this guy. Yeah. He was stressed.
Yeah.
A felony is charging count one of the information.
Even his lawyers, they're like all emotional and stuff.
2025, jury seat number 9, court cases.
So you know what's like crazy? The actual charge was that, so this guy ASAP Relly, he was part of the ASAP mob, so they were pretty close. He's saying that ASAP Rocky shot the gun and then it grazed his fingers.
Okay.
And that's all that happened to him.
Okay.
And something like that can get you 24 years in prison. But then like they like challenged it in court and whatever. And they said it was like a prop gun. And then the police never even found the shell casings of the casings of the gun. And then the lawyer that's in the video as well, Joe Tacopina, he was also the lawyer for Donald Trump during his civil lawsuit. And he's like a really good lawyer. Like he was paid millions by Trump, and then he's won 39 out of 40 trials that he's done. And obviously, like they were very grateful to him when he won. And then Rocky called him like ASAP Joe. But that was a good thing that he didn't take that plea deal.
I mean, I feel like it's what we were saying, right?
Yeah.
I think I said it. I'm like, he's either an idiot, or he's really
that's
smart.
the only reason the lawyers would advise not to take it is if they were pretty certain that he would get it.
I don't know how certain they were, because that guy, that was
really right.
He was praying after. If you keep watching the videos, it's like,
I agree with that. Like, I think when initially he was presented, I was like, this guy knows he didn't do enough to get convicted, right? And he's getting that kind of legal advice. That's the only reason you would reject any of that stuff.
For sure.
But then seeing his reaction, he still thought that there was a chance he could have been guilty.
There was.
I guess there's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
But
Well, imagine he took the deal.
Yeah.
In jail for no
Wild. And it was
Well, when you
12 years or something.
Oh, it was 6 months.
6 months.
That's why it was like, why isn't he?
Oh, right.
Like, he would have been on probation.
But I think it's one of those where if you know you didn't do anything wrong, there's certain people that are going to continue to be like, no, man, we're going to fight for this thing because I know I didn't do anything wrong and I'm going to get off, right? It depends on how confident you are and your lawyers are in the case, right? For
sure.
But I also feel like, to what you were saying, like how he's won 39 cases, a lot of the times these big shot lawyers, they only take on cases they know they're going to win, right? They're not going to take losing cases, right? If he was out here fighting the losing cases, that number would be a lot lower.
But there's still really big cases that he did. Like, he did the Trump trial, this one now. So
no, I'm sure he's a good lawyer, right? I'm just saying that it's not the stats.
True.
They just they're inflated a little bit, right?
Diddy's lawyer just stepped down from.
Okay, so that's
He's
probably
not
a guy.
giving- He's not giving a reason why though.
he just
He's
said,
just
I
like,
can't do
yeah,
it. I possibly cannot.
Crazy.
Really?
Probably saw,
Yeah. He stepped down.
Probably saw some damning evidence.
Gave a petition to step down because I don't think you can just say like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Diddy's a whole nother case, right? That's just wild how. I don't even want to talk about Kanye. But like,
That's Diddy.
that's no. I was just saying because of Kanye and stuff. But like, I think Diddy, there's just too much going on there, right? And we haven't heard of anything for long enough. The weird thing about all of that is, like, if you see things like they were talking about JFK files and MLK and bringing all that back up, like, majority of people, things that happened with the JFK assassination, majority of people are probably dead, right? And if you look at the Epstein list, when it happened, everyone's like, oh, what's going on, right? Now it's been a few years, right? And the time keeps passing by. At some point, nobody's gonna care who's on that list,
Are they
right?
even releasing it, or did they release something like the Epstein list?
They are going to, is what they're saying. They haven't released.
They've been saying that though since he like.
Yeah. But like to what I was saying, then Diddy, right? Like if you're like when it came out, big news, all this stuff is happening. He goes to prison. Nothing. Right now, for like years are gonna fly by, right? And slowly, when nobody cares, then some shit's gonna come out about he did
Well,
this.
lawyer stepping down is a pretty big deal.
For sure.
That is a massive deal.
Whoever's gonna now take it, watch it be this guy.
Oh damn!
Nah, this guy wants winning cases. This is
He's not gonna take that.
he's gonna jump on this one. All right.
All right, let's move on to that plane crash, the Delta Airlines.
So the Delta plane crash at the Toronto Pearson airport, and it had about 80 people on board. No one died, thankfully. Almost at least 12 people were injured, but now Delta is offering all the passengers that were on the plane $30,000 for compensation.
30,000.
So we do have a clip of the actual crash.
Okay. That's crazy. Oh shit. Oh, it flips over.
That's so scary.
Yeah, like, imagine the passengers. People
Even landing on that just looks like a sheet of, like, why is it not plowed?
So Delta is saying that the money comes with no strings attached, and they can take it and they can still file like legal action afterwards if they wanted to.
Well, the people can?
Yeah, the passengers. And so far, 2 passengers are already suing the airline because they're like $30,000 is not enough.
Yeah.
We have so much like trauma from what happened, because it was pretty like,
not only trauma, they could have died.
like, people were like, I could have died. Like, they were hanging upside down. Like, the plane went
on the flight,
upside down.
There was some of them are 2 of them were in critical, right?
Yeah, one of the kids I think airlifted to a hospital. Right. I think 3 people were critical condition.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if they had life-threatening injuries.
I saw one of the passengers. He had like a neck brace.
Yeah.
On. I think that's probably the one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and
He's
then
like
he's
30K isn't enough.
Yeah.
To me, 30K is laughable.
Yeah.
In this situation, 30K?
Yeah.
You're billion-dollar probably organization, right?
It's not the fact that you got out of there with a couple of scratches, right? It's not that.
No.
It's that could have been a lot worse, and you could have lost your life.
Yeah.
Right, and your life is worth more than $30,000.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen a couple of videos on this now. Certain aviation experts, they're talking about it. Right.
Yeah.
Apparently what saved them, they're like, this thing should have just blew up and caught fire. What saved them was because it drifted off into the snow. When it flipped out, the snow took out the fire. Because typically I saw this one pilot, I don't know if he's right or wrong, but like I saw not only one, I saw like 2 or 3 of them saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And they were saying that if this wasn't in the winter, right, and the plane didn't land in the snow like that, all the passengers probably.
But the reason it did land like that wasn't that because it was in the winter.
Then there's that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't know. There also, I think a firefighter came out right when this thing, I don't know if it was a firefighter, but somebody came out right when this thing happened, and they were like, there were no crosswinds, and
there was no black ice,
and the runway, no ice.
There's no reason.
There's no reason. But like pretty confidently he was saying this stuff, right? And
Yo, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
This is like crazy. This one's a Pearson too.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yo, but it's so like, thank God no one died.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Like
It
something
looks
that
crazy.
looks that scary. Yeah, exactly.
this year, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
New
with
Year's
these
Day.
I'm a little terrified.
It's also I heard and I read a couple different sources that said these little things like they happen. Not like this, not like crashing and stuff, right? But little like now it's just getting reported everywhere. Like the minor like a problem with any plane, they're over reporting it, right? And little things happen.
Yeah, maybe little things, but these big things that are happening, they
The
have
plane
to report
flipping
them.
upside
Yeah.
down. I think there was like 2 smaller aircrafts that crashed into each other in Arizona, right? Then we saw that thing in where was it, Pennsylvania, and then the one
DC,
in
the
DC,
crash,
and then before that was it Malaysia, or where was the other one? The one that the runway when it was gonna take off, it just smashed into the big one.
Yeah.
A bunch of people died.
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
I remember.
But I know what you're talking about.
A couple weeks ago we were talking about it. But yeah, so like I feel like none of these things are minor, and I know now with social media it feels like day by day, week by week, we just get pushed more information.
Yeah.
But I never in my life saw planes flipping upside down and crashing into each other.
Yeah.
Right here too.
Yeah.
In our backyard.
Everywhere. Washington, D.C., Toronto, Arizona, like you name them. Pennsylvania, it's happening everywhere.
Screw the 30K. You think there's real trauma there? You think those people are going to want to get on a plane ever again?
Like, yeah, people have said that.
Ever
they
again?
never want to fly again. I thought I almost died. Like,
But then think of it like being the person like I lived through that, like being so grateful.
Everyone did.
yeah.
And that's perspective, right? Glasses half full, glasses half empty.
Yeah.
Depends on how you want to take
But
it.
I
you
still want to
have-
be like, I need more monetary compensation. Like,
I think it's
30K is not enough.
pretty easy class action. You guys all just sue the shit out of them.
Oh, they'll win that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Depends on
30K though?
Yeah.
What are they thinking?
Well, I would assume I'm not their lawyer, so this is all alleged and just my own personal opinion. I would think that if you offer money like that and then 80-90% of the passengers take that money, now when you go to court, you're like, hey, listen, we care about the passengers. They could still file a lawsuit. We weren't stopping them, right? We were trying to show that we care and we care about their lives. There was an accident, accidents happen, right? And that's the kind of thing that you're trying to paint, right? So you ultimately have to pay less money later. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can move on from that. So the White House released this video, ASMR style.
Nice.
So this is from the official White House X account, and they posted an ASMR, and that's what they called it, ASMR deportation video. So this is the clip that they posted.
What? Doesn't it almost feel like he's like, oh, wait, okay, go.
Yeah.
Right? And he's
so planned. Yeah.
It's so cringy.
But I don't know. Oh my god. This
is making me laugh.
This is on their official Twitter page, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
The White House.
Yeah.
And even, did you guys see on Valentine's Day they released that this photo?
They actually
on their page. They're putting out. I don't know who's running this thing.
Yeah.
Yo, they're so out of pocket, whoever is running that page.
Yeah.
Like, even the video they posted about Selena Gomez. Like, that's so mean.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, okay, I'm going to give some pushback here. On that kind of stuff, I feel like you're just messing around, right? And if that's just how the world that we live in, you're just going to joke around about this stuff, right? And like you have Kanye saying like crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like if you think about something like that, it's not so crazy. But to me, when I look at that ASMR video, it's cringy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, we get it, right? There's illegal immigrants, right? And so a lot of them are criminals. You're shipping them to prisons, and majority of the country probably agrees with him, right? But you now are like doing these shackles and stuff. It's like you're trying to politicize the whole thing more and more and being like, look what I'm doing.
You're also
Look
making
what I'm
fun
doing.
of it. You're trying to make it trendy. Like, it's, like, I don't
Yeah, by using ASMR especially, like, that's trendy.
Yeah.
It's fine to, like, I guess they're trying to show, like, look, we're doing things, but you are tearing apart families. You're, like, being super insensitive. Just throwing this in their face. They're making a joke of it. Even that Valentine's thing,
Okay,
like, we're going to put you away.
I think, okay, the tearing apart families, like, that's more of a argument because you can think, like, if it's, you know, if that's kind of ends justify the means kind of thing, right? Like, what are you going to do, right? But, like, if you're going to, some of that stuff, man, it's just funny to me. I don't know. Like, it's just too much, right? Like, it's cringy. It just feels like you could have just taken a picture.
Yeah.
Right?
Or just had a regular, like a video where someone was just reporting it.
Yeah.
And they're saying, like, these are the immigrants that are being sent back. Why did it need to be ASMR?
Some of those, like, they're not showing faces or anything, right? And you didn't see a line of immigrants. Who are these actors? Like, who are these? What is that? It's like a really weird video, right?
Yeah.
That Valentine's Day thing, like, I know you guys, it kind of annoys you guys. That's still funny. Depending on
But, like, the official White House,
that's the weird part.
Posting it, it's not funny when they do it.
It can be funny. It's just unprofessional a little bit.
Yeah, but okay, I think it's unconventional, right? But I mean, we live in this world now, right? Like, he's calling Trudeau a loser,
governor.
Right? He's calling him governor. You saw what he was doing to the other guy I was talking about before. He's like, well, no federal funds for you, right? And
yeah, that's the problem. He does these things and he makes it everyone else think that it's acceptable to like talk like that and act like that.
So you can either choose to get annoyed at that or play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if that's a world, like, it's the same thing that you do in the investing world, right? Like, if all the money is moving to Bitcoin or wherever, right? You're obviously going to do your research and you're going to be like, okay, you could either be one of those people who are like, I hate Bitcoin. Bitcoin sucks. I'm never going to invest in Bitcoin. Or you could be like, okay, I did enough research. I understand this a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of money here. I don't think it sucks. I don't think it's great, but, you know, so the same thing happens here, right? Like, if this guy is talking all this shit, right? At some point, you got to be like, all right, let's just talk shit. This is kind of the world we live in. Let's just all just talk shit and have fun, right?
Yeah.
That shit, a lot of it is funny to me.
Yeah.
Man. Like, I don't know, you guys, to me, that seems funny.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, I'll just double down on the cringy part of it, right? Like, I thought the other Selena Gomez video that you were talking about, I think that was a little cringy too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like almost like you're trying to stage these things to emphasize how much you're trying.
The Selena Gomez part was cringy or the White House part?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. All of
super
it.
cringe.
Yeah.
Oh, you crying
All
on
of
camera.
it. All of it.
But anyway, speaking on Trump, at a Black History event, he announced that, so he has this National Garden of American Heroes. It doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
He's just trying to put it in motion.
Okay.
But one of the statues he wanted to put there was Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
So let's have a video.
Executive order I signed last month, this new beautiful outdoor statue park. It's going to be a statue park. It's going to be unbelievable. We're picking the final sites now. It's between various states that want it very badly. We'll honor hundreds of our greatest Americans to ever live, including countless Black Americans, icons.
Okay.
The garden will predominantly feature incredible women like Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Billie Holiday, Aretha Franklin, and Coretta Scott King. and I will showcase extraordinary. It will be something very extraordinary. It's going to be producing, we're going to produce some of the most beautiful works of art in the form of a statue from men like Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Jackie Robinson, what a great athlete that was. Martin Luther King Jr., Muhammad Ali, he's not a bad athlete. What do you think, Muhammad? Not too bad.
So full of
And
himself.
the late Kobe Bryant. People love Kobe Bryant. And we're going to save Tiger Woods for another time. That's all.
He's standing right there.
Oh, he's
During
there. Oh,
Black
there.
History
Yeah, that's what he
Month,
said.
we pay tribute to these heroes and to so many others.
was like, that
but
was
not
so
simply
random.
because
Yeah.
they're black heroes,
you
but
can't
also
throw
because
Tiger
they are
Woods in
truly
there, but yeah.
American heroes who inspire all of us very much.
So basically it was at a Black History event. He's just talking about doing it. He wants 250 statues. So he put this in motion when he became president the first time, and then Biden squashed it. So now he's re-saying it.
Yeah.
That's
So he's gonna have. It's just some people are just saying it's too random what he wants there. Like he wants founding fathers, activists, celebrities, pop culture, businessmen.
completely random.
Yeah.
I just love this guy's conviction. Anything he does, it's gonna be beautiful. The best thing in the world. He always has that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the most amazing garden on the planet.
Yeah. There's nothing like it on planet Earth. It's the most beautiful garden. Yeah.
It sounds pretty crazy if you're saying 250 just random statues.
Statues. It could look really cool.
Potentially, it could
But
be
it's
cool.
just in motion right now.
And he's just super petty.
No, I think okay. So like just to talk about what the people that he's putting on there, I think historians would feel like, why does somebody like a Kobe Bryant deserve to be in a place like that, right? Or like if you're saying he has other pop culture people that he's saying outside of the founding fathers and things like that, why they separate? Well, like Kobe specifically, I think he was somebody who a lot of people idolized, right? He had especially by the time he was retired and everything he was doing, right? He was all about his family, his wife, his kids. He's idolized in basketball, right? And it seemed like he was always somebody that a lot of people looked up to. And I think the difference I'm not saying I agree with the dude, I mean Trump, completely, but like when you're going to put all of these kind of statues, there's a lot of kids aren't going to resonate with historical figures, right? But a Kobe Bryant they might have looked up to, right? And that resonates with them, right? So I think there are some heroes, right? And like that's debatable if you would put him in a garden with all these people and you're trying to say he's a hero or whatever.
I think originally when I saw that he was doing that, it was like all these like Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Kobe Bryant. And I was like,
yeah.
Like, he did a lot for basketball, but I don't know. But then I saw Muhammad Ali and like a bunch of other people. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just, but he's just kind of saying things to the crowd. He's at a Black History.
For sure.
Right. And then it just, people are kind of slamming him a little bit on it too. Like he's doing all these things with immigration.
Yeah.
But now you're like so pro different cultures. And it's just.
And for me, it's
a
just
little
like
off-putting for some people.
Yeah, and how petty he is. When you said that Biden thing, I'm like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
He started it, Biden got rid of it. Oh, it's happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably just wants to make a statue of himself. That's what I think.
It's the biggest one.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like, imagine if he did the reverse of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Imagine if they didn't have any black notable figures.
But that's what I think. I think that's what maybe he wants.
Yeah.
But he's
No, it's not
surrounding it with
I think people would have talked shit if he did one or the other.
So he's doing everything.
Do you think he'll have like Hispanic people?
I think he'll have whoever he feels are heroes of American history, right? And there's a lot of them, right? You can argue if somebody else should be there or not. I don't know. All the 250 people, I'm sure if he looked at the list, he'd be like, what the hell?
I did look at the list. I didn't know what 90%.
Yeah, exactly.
Of them were.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's, I don't know. I think it's something, I don't think it's a bad thing. At that point.
In theory, it could be cool.
It's cool, man.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah.
A bunch of heroes in the best garden ever. It's cool.
Remember all those sports thefts that were going on? Like sports players, their houses were getting?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
So, this is a picture of...
Yeah.
These 7, like, they're members of a theft ring from Chile.
Yeah.
They were criminally charged. So they would like break into athletes' houses while they were playing to like burglar. Right?
No, basically they were these guys. What they would do, they would hide in the woods, literally in the woods around their homes, these athletes' homes, and they would be on like away games. Yeah, right. And they were, I guess, for the knowledge base they have or whatever, they're pretty sophisticated in the sense that they would track their whole security system, wait until their guards like off duty or whatever, just wait out in the woods. Yeah. And these are the guys behind. Remember we talked about Patrick Mahomes, Kelce,
same guy,
Joe Burrow, same guys. And that picture there, so that safe is from Bobby Portis's house.
Oh, no way.
They took it from his house, and those, I guess, the watches too, right? Yeah. Now these guys, they weren't, they didn't post this on like Instagram or anything, right? Yeah. So how they got caught? How they got caught is that they started like monitoring them. They used to use rental cars to get around, and then they would ditch them after a little while, right? So they started monitoring them and following the plates and stuff. So these I think these four got caught in a car, and they were they said, the officer asked where they were going, and he's like Orlando, and the officer was like, that's in the other direction.
Oh, I saw that video.
You saw the video?
I was watching a video, and I don't know what the hell it was.
It was probably them. I didn't even see the video.
Now I see the guy's face. I think it was this guy on the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's also wearing a Kansas City shirt or something, right?
Yeah.
That one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you saw the video. Yeah. And in that video, they found, so they followed the same way. It was so, like, stupid, kind of. They used to use window smashers or, like, crowbars. Yeah. And pretty basic, like, smash a window, get in. But they were pretty confident nobody was there. Yeah. And they would just make away with watches, jewelry. Yeah. And stuff like that. They stole about $3 million worth of goods.
Holy shit.
Yeah, when it was all said and done. They were selling it to the pawn shop, the same place, I guess. So that owner got charged as well.
Oh, damn.
So, and the photo even, they didn't post it on Instagram, nothing like that. Nothing as stupid. But they were clearly gloating. I think they were sending it to their buddies back home. Right. Yeah. So they, they pinged the cell towers around. And if you post on iCloud, the FBI, the authorities can now access that. Yeah. It's not as simple as before. Yeah. People were just dumb criminals were just posting on IG and getting booked, right? Yeah. These guys were just sending it to their friends through iCloud. Yeah, they still got caught.
Yeah, no, you can't do any of that.
Nothing you put online is safe.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
If you're a criminal, right?
The funny thing with all of this is, like, when we were reading the stories before, when they broke into Bobby Portis's house, we were talking about Mahomes, and they kept saying sophisticated American crime rings, and these dudes are walking around smashing windows with crowbars and stealing some jewelry. Like, it's like an old school way of robbery.
I mean, they got the job done.
They look young.
Yeah, they look pretty young.
It seems like all they got was like the schedule that you get off the website for any team, and like, okay, let's go to this guy's house.
Yeah, they're at a game.
Big names, man, but they got caught with Portis's stuff. With the pretty big names they were robbing, right?
I mean, I think they should have stopped.
Yeah, they got away with it for so long. Right? They should have just stopped.
Yeah.
Maybe you just stop.
They got greedy.
All they were doing is taking rental cars, and then they would, after a few of these robberies, just leave it in like a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah.
And they just kept rinsing and repeating, and eventually they got caught.
It's crazy to me, though. I would think like they're gated communities. I would think like the security is checking.
But with this level of sophistication, I don't think gated communities are going to do anything.
I just read, because obviously they make them sound smarter than they are. Yeah. When I read, they would hide out. They use that word again, sophisticated. So these guys were hiding in the woods and spying on these houses. That's crazy. They were able to pull it off.
Yeah.
I thought it was more sophisticated than this, but they got caught.
Guess not. We can move on to, so you know how Drake's touring like Australia right now? So he's giving away like sizable chunks of money to like fans at the show. So now you can see this picture. People are just showing up with crazy amounts of stuff, with everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's giving away like 25K to one person, 30K to the other person, and they could just say like, buy my mom a Birkin.
Yeah. Those signs are crazy.
But that's how it started, right? Like someone brought a sign, and then he's like, okay, I'm giving you $25,000. And everyone's like, oh, this is how you get money. And everyone started bringing signs.
That being said, though, so he's done this at many other concerts. It's kind of like what he's known for. Like he doesn't do it to this extent. But he's done it a lot. But yeah, so the first one he gave away like 30K to someone, and then people came with this. But now people are like, did he just do it to like make his concert more full? Are people just going? They're paying $500 a ticket just to get more money out of it. Like, are they real fans?
If there's that many signs,
so
who's gonna get the money?
I think this started off like you were saying, 2 signs. I think I saw a picture of it. Right. But like when things like this happen, the internet can run with narratives all they want.
For sure.
To me, I think what would happen there is that this happens, and then if it just his stadium gets full because of it, that's just.
I feel like his stadium would have been full anyway.
I would imagine that.
He hasn't toured in Australia in years, and now he's there. People were going to come anyways.
So what I would start to think is if he is going to actually do this, those seats are very valuable.
Like clothes,
like
they're gonna start costing
really, like,
$40,000 for
like
one of those seats.
Simple-minded. I think he was just being nice.
I think so too. I think that's what he does. He's been doing it for years.
Being a nice guy.
I mean, in Toronto, I think we're kind of used to it. He gives back to the community in a big way, right? Like we saw him in Christmas. He was giving away to a lot of Toronto creators. He was doing a whole bunch of things, right? Drismas or whatever. Right? So he does that usually, right? But like, I mean, you live in a world where social media is going to look, it says, Drake, give my father a break. It's pay off my mom's mortgage. These people are crazy. Right?
Yeah, but people are like coming at him, like obviously haters on the internet. They're like saying that you're creating this GoFundMe culture. They're paying $500 for a ticket to beg for money. Some guys tweeting like, this is sad as hell. Like they're not even really your fans. But the one I liked was, I'd be mad paying that much money for a ticket with a poster in front of my face. Imagine be the person behind the.
When I saw this, I'm like, that would suck. This is the concert. You're like, oh my,
so happy,
good seats. And now somebody's just holding up this big ass sign.
I didn't even think about that. So imagine even if like you're in that crowd and you didn't want to do any of this, right? You're there to jam,
just to enjoy it,
right? And like jam and be a part of the whole like concert. And now all of a sudden people are just waiting. Hope he picks me. Hope he, and that's
blocking your view too. Man.
Like go play bingo.
Right? Like, oh my god.
I don't know, man.
There's this one video I saw, this pregnant lady. And he did the gender reveal on stage. And then he opened the envelope and he's like, oh, you're going to have a little Drake.
Oh my God.
And he's like, and I'm going to give you $30,000.
Everyone gets 30 grand. So like,
25 to 30. I've seen.
Watch them all be like tax writeoffs and stuff.
Yo, people are like so mean. They're like, is it in Australian dollars? Is it in US dollars? It was so petty.
So stupid, man.
If he's doing a nice thing.
If he gives you $10,
exactly. He just gave you something you didn't have.
Okay, realistically, we can make fun of him if we want to, but what other celebrities are doing this right now? Exactly. Who goes to concerts and gives out money?
That much money to a lot of people.
It's a lot of money too, right?
I mean, that's one way to get in people's good graces again, right? Give them some money.
That, and I'll keep saying, if this guy comes back to Toronto and drops a Toronto album, I also saw, I think, the other day about him saying that a one-on-one conversation is coming.
So he is releasing album soon. It's like I released the Valentine's Day one, and get ready, like I'm going to talk to you one-on-one, but I don't know if he's going to start talking about the beef again. I don't know what that implies. Like he's in one-on-one conversation with my fans.
Do whatever you're going to do. Just be rapper Drake at least, man. Just be rapper Drake. If you want to take shots at Kendrick, take shots at Kendrick. If you don't, make some fire tunes.
Yes.
And Drake's going to be back. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last story. So remember the show The Jetsons? Did you guys ever watch that show?
Yeah.
So they had flying cars.
Yeah.
I remember like watching it and everyone's like, oh, in the future.
Yeah.
Apparently it's becoming a reality.
Yeah.
So watch this video.
One more function which none of the cars here have. It can actually vertically take off and fly forward.
For some reason, I just wanted to laugh when he was saying that.
Oh, it looks like a fake video.
Yeah, it looks like a fake video.
CGI.
It's
People do not
real.
believe it's a video. People think it's a CGI. People think it's
He just said
AI
it.
generated. That's why actually.
But it's clearly a
we had,
prototype,
like,
right?
some
That car
crews, like television crews, shoot it live because they also didn't believe it.
didn't even look like it had
Yeah,
doors.
so it's an electric, 100% electric car. They're dropping it within the next 2-3 years. Like it's not like it's in our near future.
Yeah, that's
Really?
And it cost only 300,000 for a car that flies. I don't think that was some crazy price.
Yeah.
But when it becomes more efficient, like manufacturing it, it's going to drop in price. What he said? There's already 3,000 pre-orders for it.
Where are they releasing this?
So this was in Silicon Valley. So it was in California.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's where they're gonna release his car there.
I don't know, but that's where the auto show was.
Yeah, that's okay. I feel like they've done this kind of stuff before, right?
Yeah.
You can't have cars that just fly over other cars in traffic, right? There's not
traffic.
That's
the dream.
That would be so cool.
That would be cool.
Traffic jam.
Boom. But it was like, boom, everybody left.
Yeah, and then
Yeah. Now you're having accidents like right above and below you.
How?
yeah.
It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
But if they're 300 grand, everyone's not buying
No,
it.
everyone's not buying it.
But then you got to have a air traffic system.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
There's no regulation for it.
Lights.
You have a plane demic going on with these other planes, right?
Yeah,
You gotta throw cars into
Yeah.
that? Nah, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Also, outside of any of that, look how skinny those tires are, man.
Yeah,
That
that's
car
what
doesn't
tripped me
look-
out,
And
yeah.
even in that
It
video,
can't drive too far.
no, I don't even know what the propulsion system is or how it's getting up there.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like something that is safe and something that's gonna be mass produced.
Video kind of looked like the car in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way it was flying.
Yeah. It seems completely
Seems a bit gimmicky, right?
Yeah, it seems way too gimmicky. I don't think it's gonna end up
So
being
you don't think it's going to come into production? People are ordering it, pre-ordering
Yeah.
it.
People
3,000
pre-order a lot of things.
But
right?
the thing is it going to be street legal even?
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't
It's
know.
not gonna be street legal.
Yeah.
That's not street legal.
Yeah, you can't just
Flying
fly
cars
around.
are street legal. You can't just fly around.
Jokes if you saw that.
Imagine you commit a crime, right? The cops coming after you, you fly away.
It's pretty slow.
Yeah. All it's gonna do is go up. He's gonna be like, all right, come back down.
Yeah. I'm waiting. Your battery will run out in like 1
Right?
second.
They've been talking about flying cars forever.
Yeah. But it's
They're kind of
funny.
inefficient though. Like, what's the point of having flying cars?
just to beat traffic.
Well, make tunnels, like Doug Ford was saying.
Okay, so that's all we have for off topic.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the question segment. So we'll do one where I tell you 4 different things you have to live without, and then 4 different years, and then you just kind of have to make the choice.
Okay.
So the options are: how many years are you going without any caffeine? How many years are you going without eating meat? How many years are you going without drinking pop? And how many years are you going without being able to drive yourself? And the years are 5, 10, 15, 20.
Okay. Pop 20.
Pop 20, 100%.
Yeah, Pop's.
I don't drink pop.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Summer loves Coke.
What would you say for pop?
Do you have a problem with that?
Compared to all of the ones on the list, that would be
Yeah.
20 as well. Yeah.
Okay, and then the other ones are drive. You can't drive.
Drive yourself.
That would be
so
the-
you can still take Ubers
You can still
and get
take
people to
Uber.
drive you.
Caffeine.
Caffeine.
And
That
what's
one's a
the
tough
third one?
Meat. No eating
I
meat.
need both of those things.
I don't need meat. I know, like, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I need it. I need caffeine.
Yeah.
Really, more than me.
I think I need I would need caffeine more than meat.
I think I agree with that sentiment.
Okay.
Because you can do, people are vegetarian, they live fine. You can find other protein sources.
You
There
can
was a point
try.
in my household where my mom, my dad, and my brother were vegetarian.
Yeah.
So that was my life. I could do that.
Coming from a sick household, that was
Yeah.
us growing up too, right? We're pretty much vegans.
I was just like, I'm not doing it.
But then, yeah.
Get me McDonald's.
Yeah, eventually you shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. To me, it would be pop is obviously 20, and then you guys are saying caffeine's the most important to you guys?
No, what was the
Driving,
driving?
yeah.
Driving yourself.
But yeah, I was just, as opposed to taking Ubers and stuff or public transit.
Yeah.
Or even
can-
other people can drive you.
You
still.
can make do, but what are you
That
going
would
to
be
do?
hard. I think driving would be
Driving is the least. Driving is the least. And then I think it's a toss up between if you like caffeine or meat more, you pick.
Yeah.
For me, I love coffee, but I just feel like if you're trying to be healthy, you need meat as a protein source for the most
What
part,
about dal?
personally speaking. How much dal are you going to eat?
My dad can eat dal every single day.
Yeah.
Your dad, right? That's not me. No, I think okay, but it's a consensus.
I think Indies agrees with me.
Indy. Yeah. So then we have to go with that list. That's a consensus.
What's your list?
Yeah, I'll say the same.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah.
So what do we have? We have
driving,
caffeine, meat, pop.
Pop, yeah.
Okay.
The other way around though. Pop's last.
He said
However
pop
you
last.
think about it in your head.
Okay.
You can go with that.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll do one ranking question, so blind ranking. So rank these chocolates without knowing what comes next.
Okay.
I love chocolate.
Yeah, so the first one is turtles.
I love turtles.
I love turtles.
But I don't eat them that much, but they're good.
They're so good.
I feel like they're a solid 3.
But yeah, they're
Out of 5?
3 is not that solid.
2.
2?
Turtles are so good. Like during Christmas.
They're really, really good.
They are
but I
really
don't eat them
good, but I don't eat them often either. How often do you eat turtles?
Fine, 3.
3.
3. Okay, the next one is Lindor.
Lindor.
Which one?
Controversial.
Which one?
There's different flavors. All of them, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, just as a chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay. Depends. Are chocolate bars coming next? I don't know.
I don't know. I think she's gotten better at this too, so I feel like there's going to be one that's
Bad
not
one?
good.
So Lindor, we gotta go 2 then, right? Or do we want to? Do you
4
guys
or 2?
Do you guys like Lindor?
Yeah.
He loves Lindor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go
I like
2?
it better than turtles personally.
So 2.
2.
Okay.
If you like it better than turtles,
Let's do
2.
2.
All
go
right.
2.
Okay, the next one is Hershey.
Hershey.
Like the whole brand, or
Yeah.
like cookies and cream, or like
Hershey as a brand.
Hershey, I don't know everything they make.
they make
just thinking
Ferrero
about the plain
Rochers.
milk chocolate
They
bar.
make
Really?
thinking-
yeah, they make Ferrero Rocher.
Okay,
They
Hershey
make
bar.
yeah.
I was thinking
Okay, let's
Hershey
do the
Kisses.
cookies and cream Hershey
Okay,
bar.
Hershey's cookie and cream.
What do we have left?
So you
4,
did 3
5,
at turtles
4, 5,
and
and 1.
Yeah.
Cookies and cream. I feel like as a kid, I like that.
I don't like it
Now,
anymore.
I
So
don't know.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was going to be one like shit.
Okay, let's
Should we
4.
do 4?
Yeah,
We'll do 4. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the next one is Ferrero Rocher.
Oh.
Oh damn.
So
Do we leave 1 open?
No, I'd put that as 1.
We'll just put it at 1.
Ferrero Rocher has 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
They
and
could
then,
all shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
then the last one is number 5, I guess. So like a dairy milk chocolate bar.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah,
It's
that
probably
works.
the worst
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
think-
waiting for Raisinets or something.
Yeah. Where are those? She's too nice. So now we know her. We got this.
Well, I'll change it up next time.
Okay. With that, it's a wrap. Remember, we're not experts on anything, but we research everything and we encourage you guys to do the same. We'll catch you guys next week.
Take care, everybody.